As my friend Jim Lampley said, the fact that you've had a life is an achievement, Jack. And, thank you, Pro. Yeah. You know, I feel like that young rancher that I saw on the TV commercial with his boots up, sitting on the ground, and he says, you know, if you can find some work that you love, you pretty much have a life. You know, after this, I've worked with directors from everywhere. I travel all over the world. I am a hick actor. This expanded my life. This business teaches you everything. I love you all. I'm very proud to be here. I love this work. It's dangerous. You give your life to it. And like all novice speechwriters, you know, I'm just trying to be funny. The truth is, I'm proud of all of my collaborations. The work that this is about has set my life free. Confounds me. I'm a romantic. I feel these things matter. These little patterns that we are. The universe. Okay. My work motto is everything counts. My life motto is more good times. So, I guess the only real danger here is after this I'll fall in love with myself. So, so Mud, June, Shorty, damn. I may be godless, I may be faithless. I still pray that they can hear me. I started out because of them. I'm here to please them. I've had a ball. I was going to choose here to say goodnight, Mr. Calabash, wherever you are, because Shorty had an enormous nose and liked my imitation of Jimmy Durante. But the spirit I'd like to express on behalf of AFI, and if you don't mind, the international film community, really, all these things about age and time and everything is, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Can you remember the time in your own childhood or adolescence when you formulated the desire to be an actor?
Was there a point, someone you saw or someone who influenced you?
Well, no, I would say it was a gradual thing, as it probably is with most people. It's an unusual choice of occupation for a sort of centrally placed male American. You know, when you're out there in New Jersey, you don't suddenly pop up in the middle of your football practice and say, yes, I'm going to be an actor. You don't, it doesn't do it that way. I probably really started thinking about doing it after I was doing it. And vaguely when I was working at MGM in the cartoon department, a job which I got really mainly to observe movie making because I was sort of starstruck at that time. Still am.
When you got into movies, those early films, the pre-Easy Rider films, the Roger Corman movies, do they make you wince when you see them on television now?
Well, they all make you wince. I mean, I think work of any vintage, because, you know, you embody your own work, makes I would imagine makes anyone wince, or at least it should. I got to do a few things that I actually liked, and I must say that although I was in some of the most dreadful pictures of all time, that I was, and so were all the people I was working with, trying to do their best under the circumstances. And that's really all you need as a developing actor, is just to be trying to do it well. If you can live with the humiliation of, you know, being in something where it's pretty funny, you know, it's not bad for you. I always have felt that I was lucky, because if I had been successful that early, I'd be in a position where I was trying to make a comeback now. You know, almost all of the actors, for instance, the first show that I was in, Michael Landon was the star actor in it, and while we were doing the play, he got Bonanza. So all of my career, up until when Michael left Bonanza, went on while he was on Bonanza. And that was very good for him, you know what I mean? And everybody was envious, as I would be naturally at the time. But in reality now, obviously, I wouldn't trade it with him.
Well, all comparisons are odious, as my mother told me. I always have a good time working. I suppose those of you who know anything about me know I've always worked with good directors. I'm real good. I choose material well, and after that, I think I'm lucky. I always brush my teeth before I report back in for work.
Why?
Consideration for my co-workers. It's grueling enough without a face full of lamb cutlets. They'll be so grateful to me now.
What?
They'll be so grateful. They'll say, look at that chef. Who doesn't come down, even though it's midnight.
That's not true. It's 8 o'clock.
And Lord knows what he's been doing. He's down here, and he has a fresh and sparkling breath. You see? Now, you'll have to excuse me now, because I'm going to take a piss. Thank you.
This just amazing collaborative actor. I couldn't believe the amount of work he put into it. I'd never met the man, and I just figured, boy, if anybody can just show up and do something, it's going to be Jack Nicholson. It was the opposite in that he put so much into it, and it was a real masterclass for me. I was blown away. Just one, how much work he put in, but two, of how good he is. He's a persona. Like he can easily slip into that kind of Jack persona, you know, where you think he's like this, and because that guy is so larger than life and so charismatic and so amazing, it's easy to overlook the fact that he's as good as he is. I mean, I saw him do 20 takes in a row, and I saw how different each one was, all the choices that he was making, and how each one was valid and each one was riveting and at different levels, and it was mind-blowing. This is the kind of monotonous work that's equivalent to doing scales for a violinist. And you'd be amazed at how many actors look at their watch to see what time it is, and they don't see what time it is. You know, if you just get rid of your camera tricks, what angles they shoot you from, all of that, it in the end creates an overall impression of aging in different ways. And this is the least vain performance I think I've ever given, you know. No shadow under the chin, you know, this kind of thing, you know. But I think you find the mind of a character myself. I'm always after that. And really to do the movie that the director wants to do. Otherwise, it's not amusing. Bob and I wrote a lot together. We were very close creatively anyway. That's why we could argue about everything.
And, you know, we always had these kinds of discussions. All the movies we made together, Postman, one of my favorite movies and all that, we fought like the dickens. But we also ate dinner together every night.
What I had said to Jack, and what I felt was really intrinsic to the movie, was that we had to see the underbelly of this character, that he was somebody who had emotion, but that it was all blocked up. And we had talked about his crying, and Jack said that was the most simplistic thing that every director directing his bike movies, he said, well, why don't we have a cry scene here, Jack? And it was a little cry for us, you know. And so he was very much opposed to it. But I was very much for seeing the underbelly, and we picked out a few places where it could happen. But in particular, I think I suggested it be with his father. And Jack said, I'm not going to do this, and I don't want to do this. And I had kept him up for the entire weekend, long discussions about why this was important.
God damn it, Jack. We got 3 scenes left. You have to cry in one of them. And I said, Bob, that's just not the way we do it. We're serious.
We got in the car, and he said, I hate this script. This is bullshit. Give me a pen. And he started to write the scene himself. And I said, I don't care what the words are, as long as I see the emotion. I sent the entire crew away. There was a locked camera. That's very easy. It's a big machine. You stick it there, you flick it, and it goes on. And then there was a boom, like this here. And I held it in my hands, like this. Jack was over there, sitting. I flicked on the camera. I said action. I flicked on the camera, and I held the boom, and I faced the other way. I didn't want Jack to see anybody, just to be with his thoughts. And his father was sitting right over there, the actor. It was honest. And Jack took it to a place that I could never anticipate.
Very strong directors. This is the luckiest thing about what I do. They're always very demanding in this area. I know from before I was a successful actor because I knew some of them and so forth. They don't want whoever you are, actually, you know.
Jack, you seem to be like somebody who would know more than anybody else on any of your sets because you've been doing this so well and for so long. Do you take direction? Are you a force of nature on the set? Do you come with an idea of what you're going to do, and Alexander, you watch him do it? What is the measure of the collaboration here, I guess?
I know it's intuitive, but, they write such a strong script. I understood sort of what it was about, and he directs very specifically, and on most scenes also. In order to get really loose, you have to have somebody that you're working to. That's always the director, so that you can go outside and inside, and they take you in and out and guide you. And that's what I do. I've always thought of myself as a good director's actor, but you're right, I know more than anybody else.
Bob Dylan said you must be very honest to live outside the law. Stanley said, I think that for a movie or a play to say anything really truthful about life, it has to do so very obliquely. To avoid all pat conclusions and neatly tied up ideas, you use the audience's thrill of surprise and discovery to reinforce your ideas rather than reinforce them artificially through plot points, phony drama, or phony stage dynamics to put them across. Well, anyway, no artist creates more anticipation among his peers about his coming work than Stanley Kubrick. He's always viewed very paradoxically. I sort of polled some of the members of the Directors Guild and other people that I've worked with who knew him, and the paradoxes are always bizarre, benign, illusion, delusion, fear, inspiration, dizzying, lucid. He knows this, and he said that his critics are overwhelmed, or at least overworked. He likes that the critics are overwhelmed, I think, because he's found out what we all hope for.
the critics don't affect the audience, at least not of his work.
What do you do to get into a character and not just make people see, oh, there's Jack Nicholson again on the screen?
Yeah. Well, that's always the hard job for an actor. You know, anybody can act once or twice. They don't know who you are.
I think an actor's got to stop. You stop taking meetings, you stop taking phone calls, and you know, you live a life so that you can have something to give when the time comes to give it.
Can you explain to me why you never do TV interviews?
Not good for the actor.
I think it's a conscious choice. I don't think he wants to be in your living room, apart from if he's at the Laker game. I don't know that he wants to be that friendly guy that you feel so, you know, so close to on television.
No one really knows the real Jack anyway.
Television has this way of editing and moving things around, and you see it on this show and that show, and pretty soon you begin to not, you know, you don't know exactly who or what or why you are, and I just felt if I kept that to an absolute minimum, I wouldn't be living with that the rest of my life. I don't like to see myself in trailers on television. It interrupts my evening. And through this, only one agent who has stayed with me guided me, tolerated my tantrums, my operatic, you know, behavior and so forth. Never lost his calm. His name escapes me. Where are you, Sandy? Sandy Bressler, my pal and comrade in arms. I love you, Bress.
The winner is Jack Nicholson for The Last Detail in Chinatown.
Well, it looks as though tonight is technology night. Joanne Woodward was in New York, Ingrid Bergman was in Denver, Colorado, and now Jack Nicholson has further complicated matters by being in Salem, Oregon. I hope that damn satellite is up to the job.
To have been chosen Best Actor by the Society this year for my performance in Chinatown. I'd like to thank Madam President and the rest of the members of the Society for this great honor. I wish that I could be with you there in Albert Hall, but as you can see, I've been institutionalized here in Oregon while filming One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest with some friends of mine. I understand, however, that Misters Polanski and Town are with you in the audience this evening, and I'm sure that they will take this opportunity to thank Miss Dunaway themselves and the rest of the cast and crew of Chinatown for their contributions. Mr. Town, Mr. Polanski, if you would, please.
Hello. Excuse me for interrupting, but Mr. Nicholson has to come with me now.
Thank you. Thank you.